What's up, ladies and gents, Ghost here. So today I thought I'd share my UI and vehicle FOV settings from the viewpoint of somebody who flies a lot in Battlefield 4. So first things first, the new FOV slider. It can be found under your video options. So I'm currently using an FOV of 74. Now this may seem like a little overkill for some of you out there who are used to the default settings, and believe me, it felt as alien to me as it does to you now watching this when I began using it. The biggest hurdle of increasing your field of view is that the speed control essentially goes out of the window. You don't really have anything to relate to on screen to tell you whether you're speed failing or not anymore, and so you have to essentially relearn your third person speed control mechanics. Looping remains the same, of course, but it does give you a slight sense of unease as to whether or not you're spot on with your speed or not. However, selecting a higher than default field of view definitely gives you an advantage in a dogfight, since you'll be more likely to catch a glimpse of the enemy jet the higher the field of view you have. I would really recommend it. If you're having difficulties with speed control, perhaps try turning it up in increments of 5 or so and getting used to things in the test range before turning it up and increasing it even more than that. Now, to roll or not to roll, that is the question. First of all, does having jet roll turned off actually give you any advantage in a dogfight? The short answer is no. At least that's what the word on the street, or in the clouds as it were, is. It really just comes down to preference. So personally, I find dogfighting maneuvers more comfortable to perform with the roll off, just like it is in Battlefield 3. It just seems easier to get a read on your enemy's direction and sort of counter it correctly. However, where I'm having problems is actually aiming in third person, especially in the stealth jets. Whenever I get angles on a jet, just as the camera flips over at the top or bottom of a loop, I can't seem to aim for love nor money, but perhaps this is something I'll get used to. After all, this is the way things are and have always been in Battlefield 3, right? So something else new to jet gameplay is the rear view camera, activated by holding right click in third person mode the same way that you would free look in first person mode. So I find myself repeatedly forgetting that this exists due to the fact that I'm so unused to it, and I will freely admit that I need to practice using it more, as it really can be a game changer in a dogfight. It's also a fantastic tool for surveying the damage you've caused upon exiting a strafing run, so as you're pulling up from dropping a JDAM or whatever it may be, you can hold in right click in third person and check out the situation on the battlefield, are any heat seekers following you from the AA, what's going on down there, are you going to need to turn around and strafe back, have you taken it out the tank, has it perhaps died somehow after you caused some damage to it. So what about the UI elements of the game? So what I've done here is try to reduce as much unnecessary clutter as possible while still keeping any useful information there may be. You'll also notice I cranked the minimap all the way up to 175%. This makes dogfighting much easier, and I love it for the extra details it provides whilst playing as infantry as well. Alright then guys, so here we are in the options. I'm going to show you guys where you can find all of these settings. So first of all, you're going to want to come over to video settings, scroll down here, and here you can set the vehicle field of view. This is what I have it set to that you saw in the video earlier, 74. Next, you want to come over to gameplay, and you want to scroll down to advanced options, and that is where you will find the option for the jet chase camera roll. Now as for the rest of the options, of course, they largely apply to the infantry portion of the game, or ground portion of the game, I suppose I should say, but some of them also apply to the jet gameplay. So you'll notice that the minimap specifically, has gotten much bigger. So I have that set to 175%, crank up the background visibility and the icon visibility because I don't really see any point having that to 80%, doesn't really make much of a difference. As for the icon size, this comes down to personal preference. Some people prefer to have this larger, but I find having a large minimap with smaller icons allows you to really represent where people are on the minimap much better, especially whilst playing infantry. You can really pinpoint where people are hiding, exactly where they are, behind which wall, and the larger the icons become, the harder that actually is. Now if we scroll down here to common HUD world icons, I set these at 60%, and I keep scale with distance and icon visibility up at 100. Now you're going to notice here that for infantry, I take off everything with the zoom. So I take off the objective, interaction, the battle pickups, all of it. I keep that down at 0% when I'm zoomed in because I don't really want any unnecessary clutter. One thing I do keep at 30% is any medic or ammo packs, because sometimes you do need to know where those are, but keeping it at 30% opacity is really not going to be much of an issue. Going down to enemy HUD world icons, 80% size for these, and I keep all of these at 100 because I want to know where my enemies are. I want to be able to see the health bar, any information about them. It usually happens to be my ally's nameplate or health bar or an objective indicator that would end up blocking my line of sight to taking out an enemy, and not actually one of the enemy health indicators or something like that. So I keep all those at 100%. And finally, down to friendly HUD icons, 80% for those. And you can see I turn some of these down a little bit in zoom. So the icons I have at 80%, but when zoomed in, I keep them at 50, because I do want to know who is friend and who is foe, but should their nameplate happen to be in front of an enemy that I'm aiming at, it's nice having that down at 50%. So there you have it. Those are the settings I currently use, both for jet and infantry play. Feel free to copy them if you wish, or use them as you see fit. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and let me know down below if you have any questions pertaining to the topics covered here today, and I will do my best to answer them. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.